Well guys, welcome back to another video on this channel. I realized I haven't posted in a while, so I got I was on vacation, that's one thing, summer, you know. And I haven't actually gotten any time to film anything because I had some cars I had to fix up that wasn't mine. It was customer cars and stuff like that, so didn't have any time to film because it was a lot of work. It was welding in the wheel arch on the 9.3. Because of rusty shock towers. That was fun. Also was rusty wheel arch down along where the boot floor meets the wheel arch on the inside. I had to replace all that and fill it up and all that. Oh, that was a lot of work. So now that I have space in here, because I also get rid of my brother's Camry, which was in here. Didn't really belong in this garage anyways because it's a Toyota. So that car is pretty much fixed, waiting for approval, but it's a long wait because of summer and vacations, stuff like that. So we have to wait for 1st of August to fix that. So, but now I have more space again to finally get in more cars, which is a stupid thing because I have enough cars. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I also talk about what's going to go on in this garage / barn in the near future. So let's talk about all the cars we have. We haven't done that in a while. So we got still the 900 Turbo, the NG 900 Turbo, the 9.5 sitting over there, waiting some fixes. You know, I'm gonna turn it around here so you can better look around, so you can see it better. So here is the NG 900 Turbo. We are getting fixed up some stuff on this, and it's getting sold, unfortunately. But we are, or rather, my girlfriend are focusing on, well, getting her license actually. So that's a first, or not the first. That's the first thing to get when you have a car, you know. And also, this car is a bit special because it's a kind of a difficult car to own if you're not. If you don't have a lot of time to fix stuff and look for stuff and stuff like that, this car has been actually one of the most difficult cars to find parts for, because it's a 95 in 96. It's a late 90 or is it middle 95? I don't know what it is. It's a weird one because this car is kind of in a transition period when they replace some stuff and change stuff like brakes and hubs and stuff like that, and this stuff changed and going from cable clutch to hydraulic and stuff like that. It was a lot of stuff that changed, and this car is kind of in that middle road, which is weird because it should have like partly changed the whole car. Partly changed the pieces. It should change all of them for the newer stuff for 96, but this car has both 95 parts and 96 parts on it, and that turned out to be kind of an issue because when we wanted to put on brakes on it for the first time, I looked it up and it said 288mm brakes, just like the 9.3 and 9.5. And I thought, well, that makes sense because it's a 5x110 bolt pattern and all of that, and it looks pretty similar size. So I went ahead and disassembled the brakes and found out that that's wrong because this uses the 286 millimeter brakes. And the 288, even though if you move over the calipers, won't fit because of the wheel hub is too big. Yeah, so that's a problem. Also, this car has a cable clutch, and we had to replace the clutch on this, or the clutch cable, because that was stretched, or not stretched. The mechanism for the self-tightening was bad, so we replaced it with a manual tightening one, and now the clutch is really nice. It has a full 3-inch system exhaust, very nice. It's actually a pretty good car in general. It's also in reasonably good shape to be a Norwegian car. It's has slight rust on the bottom of the hatch here. That's very, very common on these cars due to rubbing on the bumper. The bumpers are also 9.3 SE bumpers or Aero bumpers or whatever. They are a bit nicer than the stock Aero or stock 9.3 bumpers. Because it also has the painted part down there and it's a bit more aggressive, stuff like that. Also has the side skirts from the SE, which was very difficult because this is a 3-door, and the 5-door and 3-door doesn't use the same skirts, so I had to modify these to make them fit. The paint has let go there, that's how it is, no biggie. Engine's pretty solid, except it needs a new head gasket because it leaks oil. It has done that since we got the car, and we haven't bothered fixing it because, well, the car ran just fine, but you have to check the oil for once in a while. And also another thing this car had was leaking water into the car, and we found out that this quarter window was missing glue right here. So you can think about all that water drips down and gathering here, whoop, down here, ruining the headliner and stuff like that. Very nice. Also makes it very, very moist inside the car, which is not nice. And yeah, all that, you know. So had some stuff to do. We are looking for a genuine stereo for this car, so we can get it back to kind of original. Or original look on the inside at least. We are looking for new door panels because these door panels are hideous, and they also had cutouts for tweeters, and the only reason I put the tweeters there because they were already cutouts, so I had to fill them up with something. Has the US spec indicator lights that have not been wired up for reverse lights because that is not approved in Norway. Thank you, Norway. Or EU rather, let's say EU thing. So that's this project kind of on hold. It still works, still runs fine. It has the shock towers. It has shock bearing thingies with the rubber thingies because those were bad. It has the H&R lowering springs. It has the Bilstein B8s. It's a pretty solid car overall. Has polyurethane bushings in the rear, I believe, not in the front because those control arms were recently replaced when we got the car, and so those bushings are fine. There's actually both the front and the rear control arm because it's a 2-piece control arm in this car, so those are nice. Paint job on this looks actually pretty decent. It has some issues on this side right here where I don't know what happened to the clear coat here, but the clear coat on this turned all foggy. So I'm not sure what to do about that. I'm probably gonna try to repolish it and put on a ceramic coating on it, which will probably, hopefully, fix that. But like rust-wise, it's a bit tiny there, but the rest is pretty good. We're missing that piece, but it's pretty solid car. So we don't want to like. We want to sell it on to someone who wants to take care of it and someone who will love it. It's a 3-door, so it's very hard to come by, especially as a turbo. So yeah, we want to go back to as original as we can without, well, spending too much money. So we're relieving the springs and shocks. We are relieving the exhaust system on it because the original system is pretty hard to come by. We are going back to the original intake system. Everything is going back to original in the engine bay. We are leaving, of course, the silicone hoses because silicone hoses, you know. So that's that. So yeah, that's pretty much for that. This car, my 995, waiting repairs. There's a lot of rust on it. Like a lot. I cut out here. I did cut out some here. Turned out to be more rust. So this car is kind of on hold right now due to all the rust. This side is even worse. So it's pretty. I'm doubting. I'm like thinking about actually just thinking about retiring it, but not really yet because it's done 335,000 kilometers and it runs so good. It's just the chassis that is bad, and that really annoys me. So I'm kind of at that point. I want to fix it, repaint the whole car, more on that later, and get it back to, well, original look and specs like that. And that means I'm gonna fix this on the outside properly and stuff like that. But on the inside, I'm not sure I'm gonna care too much because you're not gonna see it, you know. So just as long as it holds and it's good and it's rust-free again, that's pretty much what I'm after. So there's rust there. There's of course rust there. There is rust on the hatch. You probably saw. This here went from, in 4 years, went from nothing to this. 4 years. And I wash my car regularly, and that's pretty much why the paint is so creeped up like it is, because I wash the car so much. It flakes off all the paint when I wash it, which is kind of better than leaving the paint on and letting it rot from the inside, and salt and stuff like sticks there, and you know. So it's better to wash your car, but that's how it turns out. So better to fix it, but I didn't, because it's a kind of an awkward spot, because it's right where the metal is twisted round, or you know, bent around, so it rusts usually from the inside out. So that's shot. Also, the wiper finally broke. Nice. So that's that. 9,000 here. It's pretty much in okay condition. It needs a wash, obviously. It needs a new inner CV on the driver's side, on the gearbox side, because I figured out when I put on the new gearbox on this car, the new gearbox, the used one, that gearbox had a bad CV. So I have to steal that from the old transmission that I still have, or gearbox that I still have. So that's good. Other than that, it has some clunking in the rear from the exhaust system hitting the rear axle. But I'm thinking about replacing either shocks or springs or both on this thing, because it's for me this is a bit too low. It's a good stance, but it's a bit too low. And I have actually by here, those are self-leveling 9,000 dampers. So I wonder how those are going to work with the lowering springs. Maybe it will help it. I don't know. Going ahead here, 900 turbo, the OG, runs, drives, stops. It has a slight leak from the power steering, which I found out was a very common issue on these things. So that's nothing new. I don't know if does it have a battery in it. Yeah, it does. Hold on. Let's see if it starts. It has power. It seems like we have some visitors inside the car, so that's good. There we go. The fan on this. So it starts. I haven't started this in like 3 weeks now. It's a bit thumpy. I don't know if you can see that. You can probably hear it. Oh, it has a alternator belt slipping. Here, turbo. So yeah, starts, runs, goes into gear. The handbrake works on the front wheels like it should. Everything works. Oh, look at that. That's exhaust smoke. Nice. That's gonna smell really good. Yeah, it has a slight leak from where it's underneath the car somewhere. Well, at the exhaust. I don't know. But it runs fine. When it gets up to temperature, it runs perfect. So yeah. This car is a fun little car, I'm gonna tell you that much. Wow, that exhaust leak is something else, you know? Oh yeah, that's that almost, it actually smells kind of like coolant more than anything else. Has it sprung a leak now? I don't know. Seems fine, you know. Oh, it's actually on the exhaust side. All right. I don't know from where that comes from, but could it be battery? No, it could be, no, because it smokes from here. Alright, well, let's leave that open so it, does that. My Subaru Forester Turbo has a slight issue now. The windshield is kind of, I don't know if you can see that. You can see that slight crack right there? Like, right there? Yeah, that shelf right there had a full set of tires on it, and well, it fell. And it absolutely destroyed the windshield. This thing is, this tarp thing here wasn't really fastened like it should. Now it has, you can see there's a piece of wood back there holding it on now. Well, it was a very big wind, and took that shelf right out and threw it in the car, basically. Thankfully, it only took out the windshield and has some slight marks on the hood scoop. Other than that, it survived pretty good. So that's nice, I guess. I'm trying to figure out why this car won't run properly. It starts and drives, but slightly, because it will run and idle. It will idle perfectly fine, but as soon as you give it throttle, it will hesitate. Like before the turbo even makes boost, it will hesitate. So I don't know if it's a fuel issue. Well, there's the fuel filter, so I can probably just jump the fuel filter and see if that fixes it. Maybe it's a bad fuel filter. I don't know. This car's been standing for a while. I put in fresh fuel, didn't solve anything. So I don't know. Probably a clogged filter or clogged injector, something like that, because it stumbles like really hard when you try to accelerate or give it gas. It's only one on the throttle. If you give it slight gas, like slightly, bit gas, like tiny bit to raise the RPM, it runs just fine. But as soon as you give it a lot of gas, it will stumbles and it will build revs really slowly. So I don't know. BC Racing coilovers. I'm hoping I got these sold now, because I don't want this car. If you're getting a Forester, what's the point of having a Forester if the wheels are in the wheel arch? Get yourself an Impreza, This is basically an Impreza with a different body, which from what I learned. Also, there's a slight fish tank in here, so that's good. But like in general, it's pretty okay. The thing is, it's actually kind of good that like burn shield broke, because it's pretty loose from the frame now, and that makes me it's a perfect excuse to fix this rust before it gets any worse. So I don't know, it's kind of good, but I have to get myself a new windscreen, so that's cool. 96 starts kind of like, it's a weird thing. I installed a new carburetor on it, and that carburetor has an auto choke, and that auto choke is not looped in to the cooling system yet, so it doesn't open when it should open, doesn't close when it should close, So it closes, but it stays closed, But it's a cool car, runs. Does this have a battery? It does. Maybe this thing starts. Hold on, let me make sure that I'm gonna release the zip tie here from the choke. Hold on. I have zip tied the choke shut, or open rather, so it will actually idle when it's warm. There we go, and if I do this, there we go, it closes. Let's see if it starts without pumping it. I doubt it. Ugh. Maybe it needs pumping. Yeah, it's been studying for quite a bit. This will also like at same amount, like 900. So 2 pumps, maybe. Yeah, it has a slight problem with slight problem with a couple of the spark plugs, which I haven't replaced yet. So yeah, that runs, and you can drive it because I fixed the clutch on it, and the brakes works. So this is also drivable. So this car starts and runs, but it hasn't plumbed up, as you can see, the cooling lines, or the heater lines. I don't know. It's supposed to tee into, I believe it was this one here, and the lower one down there somewhere, and they should basically shoot coolant through it to tell it, hey, temperature, this is the temperature, open, close, all of that. So, yeah, that's a big battery for it. There should be no issue starting it with 800 cold cranking amps. So yeah, this car is fun, and runs and drives. It's so cool to actually drive this around. It's such a fun car. Good shocks, it runs fine, when it's actually heated up and the choke is open. So yeah, we got this Porsche here. It's a Speedster, I guess. Yeah, it's a Speedster. Not mine. It's a someone who's renting somewhere to have it. I don't know. It's a rough condition Porsche. I will tell you that much. The engine has a tick. The engine also has a intermittent low compression. So yeah. Speaking of intermittent low compression. Do you recognize this thing? That's the 9.3 Aero I picked up a while ago. Yeah, I still have it, because I haven't figured out what the hell is the problem with it. This thing is actually a really nice car. There's been so many visiting me in the garage, looking on this car, and actually just fallen in love with it, because it's a nice car. It's like in very nice condition. It's pretty much original. There's no rust on it. It's low kilometers. It has good supportive seats, because this is the early Aero seats. Electric seats, by the way. And it has the B230... It's a B205R. So it's a TD04 2-liter. But I have a slight issue, as you can see. There's a lot of pieces all over the place, because I've been trying to figure out what the hell is the issue with it. Basically, this car, when I got it, was a very weird engine. It wouldn't start when I got it, so I tinkered about with filling oil in the cylinders, trying to restore compression and all of that. That didn't solve anything, so I left it, came back to the next day, and for some weird reason, it had compression on 3 cylinders. I don't know why, but it suddenly had compression on 3 cylinders. It's a long story short. If you watch the other videos, you can see there's actually more to that story than, that. So I was like, what's the problem here? Maybe it's the top end has a valve issue, something like that. I have seen that before in older Saabs, because the carbon stuff pieces sticking to the valve and keeping it open. Because this car was owned by an old couple in northern Sweden. And they hardly haven't been driven. It's a 2-liter turbo, high pressure, all of that thing. You should drive it like it should, like it should, But this thing, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird one. I replaced the pistons, because I figured I found out when I took off the head on it that I had a cracked piston, and it was losing compression. Which was really weird, because the car suddenly got gained compression on all 4 cylinders and ran on 4 cylinders. I even took it up and down the hill out here on 4 cylinders, and it ran just fine. And suddenly one day I wanted to move it. It was back on 3, and it was making a very weird noise. So I took off the head, found out that was a bad cylinder or a bad piston. Took out the piston, and replaced all 4 of them with new piston or new used pistons in good condition. There are also the newer style pistons from Biopower. They're the same specifications in that term, not really any difference. But anyways, I put in those. The car now has full compression, all 4 cylinders, but it won't start. Which is the thing with this style is that it will kind of try to start, like it turns over, and suddenly it's like it's flooding or something, or losing spark or something like that. It won't start. The tachometer works, it moves when you crank the engine. I don't know. Today I was actually thinking about seeing if I can replace the DI cassette, take the one from a 9.5 because I know that's good, and stuff it in this and see if that fixes it. If that doesn't fix it, I'm over to the crank position sensor, even though the needle works or the the cranking works and stuff like that in the car. I can plug in the Tech 2, see if that throws any codes. Problem is it hasn't had a battery on it, so that code's probably long gone. So yeah, but when I get this car working again, I will give this thing a nice shine up and it will be sold. If I can't get it working and it's an electrical issue, I'm probably going to sell it as is for the highest bidder, or stripping it down to pieces. I know for a fact I can get those seats sold. I know for a fact I can get a lot of this car sold just because it's a original Aero. It has a nice boot lid, it has a good bumpers, it has a very nice exhaust system, which it's actually an upgraded exhaust system. It's a 2.5-inch exhaust system, which actually sounds pretty okay. And also, it's a Saab Scania car. It has the Saab Scania badge. That means this is a 2000, and 2000 Aeros, you can either get them as a T5 or a T7, or the T5 wasn't really called an Aero at that point. It was the Monte Carlo got the T5 as a 205 horse, or 205, I don't know, something horsepower car, and you got the Aero with the Monte Carlo seats, which are these. So it has a lot of good pieces on it. It also looks like it's closes nice, all the doors work nice. It has stock springs and stock shocks, so it actually rides really good. It's such a nice car, but it's such a shame that it is in this condition. And that really, really hurt my heart, because I haven't had any time to get it fixed. Also, we're having birds in here, so there's raining like dust and everything on it. It looks like absolute, that. So I want to get this car working. As you can see, I always leave windows in my cars open, which are standing in this garage here, and that is because of condensation in the winter. When it gets really cold, it actually airs out. So I do not want these interiors to get moldy. So I do that with all the cars I have, even the cars I don't really care about, like this Renault here, which actually isn't mine. But you can see, slight gap here, just to make sure it breathes a bit, because it keeps the cars, it keeps the car alive. This has a very nice breathing hole here. This car has gotten actually three, I guess. Yeah, 3 breathing holes. I got these 2 windows and the sunroof, which is very nice on this car. My 9.5, rather, I have done goofed. I haven't opened the windows on this thing. So that's nice. But still smells nice. No condensation, nothing. Hasn't been standing that long. Has the nice Aero seats. This car is also getting a full black or dark interior transformation, because I want to go over to this style of interior with these seats and the black carpet and black trims and all that. So the dashboard and everything is going out. As I said, engine on this starts and runs perfectly. No problems whatsoever. So let's talk about, this is kind of a very long video now, I realized. Let's talk about the plans for this garage or barn here. I rent this whole barn, or this whole thing here. There's also a little insulated room right there, with about 40 square meters, something like that, with the bathroom, so that's nice. So I have enough space here, and for the price I can't really complain. That's why I'm keeping the place, and that's why I also have collected many of these cars, because I have the possibility to collect cars. But the thing is, I have to get rid of some cars. I love collecting them, but I think I more would like to fix stuff up, more than just mechanical stuff. Mechanical stuff, no issue. I can fix all mechanical stuff in here. I have done pretty much anything at this point. Engine replacement, engine rebuild, I don't know, shock absorbers, interiors. I mean, I've done pretty much anything. Wheel bearings, wheel hubs, ABS sensors that are pretty stock, stuff like that. But the thing is, I do not have a good place to paint cars. Well, camera complain about too long recordings, so here we go again. I do want to start to paint cars, because if I want to keep cars on the road, I can't just fix the mechanical stuff, because in Norway, that's not really the issue. The issue here in Norway is rust, and it is bodywork. Because of rust or stupid drivers or something like that, that makes the bodywork look like absolute crap. Or just owners like me who doesn't have time to fix them. So like my 9.5. So what I want to do is actually at that area right there where the Porsche is right there and the 9.3 is right there, I want that place. You can see we have the support beams for from the structure here. I want to build a paint booth. Yes, that's what I was hinting to when I talked about 9.5. I do want to take from these pillars, not the order ones, but these ones, because that makes it quite long. I want to take from that and build a wall and the roof. And not this tall, because that's really not anything usable. I want to be able to paint normal passenger cars. I do not want to take in big SUVs or something. It's a good thing if we can get in the Forester here, but that it really isn't that much higher than my 9.5 or than anything else in here, because the Forester is a pretty small car. But I am not planning to repaint like Chevy Tahoes and Suburbans and Explorers and stuff like that, you know. I am planning to see if we can repaint passenger cars, and that makes this area right here. Doesn't look like much right now, but it has potential because it has a good concrete floor, which you can wet when I am. Also, I can put on also epoxy or whatever on the floor to make it even better to wash and stuff like that. It's not too big, so I don't have to build that big of a wall to actually get it in or get it, get everything sorted. Since I have this small area, I don't have to such a big roof. And the thing with the whole project is, it's going to be on a budget. I'm not gonna make a proper paint booth that is properly insulated with proper ventilation, or ventilation we will have, that's for sure. But I won't have like industrial grade filters and stuff like that. That's not what I'm after here. The thing I'm after is a area that has a nice, easy to replace air filter that sucks in the air. Actually, I have a heat pump I'm gonna use for that. Actually, it's a portable heat pump, but it will work just fine. That I'm gonna use to keep temperature, or to rather increase temperature in there when painting, because that makes the paint dry faster and harden and stuff like that. I don't know. I have to read up. I have to trial. I have to error. Trial and error. But the thing is, I want that part as a paint booth, and also not only a paint booth, but also a place that I can store cars in the winter that really don't like the cold weather, or it's the cars that have stripped down interiors or missing doors and stuff like that, so it doesn't blow through, doesn't get any mouse and trap or rats and whatever in there. We have a rat issue in this garage, unfortunately. And it's a two-purpose, for the winter, it's a nice place to have cars and also heat up the whole area. It's also a nice place I can kind of close it off a bit, because right here is very, very airy. It's you can actually see outside right here. Yeah, that's outside. So it's a kind of closed off spot, kind of making a garage inside the garage, And I'm doing this very cheaply, very cheaply. How am I gonna build a wall, you think? Or you maybe ask, or something like that. Well, I got pallets. And pallets are pretty good at actually stacking on top of each other, or not like that, but on like that. And it's a pretty thick wall. And it's also thick enough to throw in insulation and stuff like that. And they're also, the good thing about these pallets, since these are E-pal or E-pallets, or what you want to call it, European standard pallets, they're reasonably good quality. And they're actually very good, very good construction. Very, very quality and very sturdy. So I can use them for a lot of stuff. That's why we use them for carrying everything here in Europe. couple of more pallets over there. I have endless supply of pallets, so that's not an issue. So that's gonna be the kind of the main wall at this side, you know, at this outer part, because the wall that is all the way further in there, that's a structure, because there's room on the other side there, so I can use that as another, like, we call it a carrying wall. Like contractors and construction people will look at me now and that's not the correct way to build it. I know, and that's the point. I want to try something new, and I want to see if I can do it myself. That's the whole thing. I do not want to rely on everything everybody else. I want to try this myself, and I want to I want to make errors. I want to, like, that's why this car is gonna be my first paint project, because this car already looks like crap. You know, no offense, Saab 95, I really love you, but it's the worst looking car in here. With the worst paint, it has the most kilometers on it. Well, rather 9,000 most kilometers, but it doesn't have that much paint issues as the 95 has. The 95, like in the reflection, is actually pretty okay. It looks actually pretty decent from here, but there's so much spots on it. Like, there are random rust spots, like right on the door, right there. I mean, how did that happen? Like here as well. How? Like right there, middle of the door. I don't know. The thing is, those doors are probably shot anyways because they're rusting from the inside out, and that's why I have this rust-free door and 4 more rust-free doors over there for a 95. But they're different colors. That's why I have to paint them. So that's why I thought 95 is a perfect experience to paint on a budget, probably change up the color a bit, make it a bit more unique so it actually stands out a bit more, because this color here, it turns out I've seen after I got the car, I don't know why, but I've suddenly seen way more of that color in my area. It's the smoke beige, and smoke beige color was actually pretty rare until like in my area. I haven't seen a single smoke beige Saab until I got one, and then I saw many of them, 9.3s and 9.5s, because you can get the new generation 9.3s in smoke beige, and I really like the color. But now everybody else has it as well, so I want to change it up a bit. I don't know, add some sparkles, you know, something that, I don't know, something that makes it stand out a bit more. And when that's done, when I see that I can actually manage to paint a car, well, we have, I don't know, we have a lot of other projects here that need some love. So the line's gonna fill up pretty quickly. Also, there's a lot of money going into this project here, and I don't make nearly enough money on YouTube, that's for sure. I'm not going to tell you go and donate or whatever, because that's not what this channel is all about. This channel is all about me showing what I like doing, and you know, explaining and stuff like that. I like showcasing stuff, you know, and for me that's part of the whole experience. For me, the money that rolls in from YouTube, once every 2 months, that's not the motivation to keep doing these videos. That's because AdSense, you know, that's the only thing that pays me on YouTube. I don't have any membership stuff. I don't sell anything, clothing or whatever. I'm not that big, you know, and I probably will never be, because I'm a small Saab mainly YouTube channel. And that's a small demographic. That word, I can't really say that right now. And you know, there's just a certain few people actually watch my videos. There's one video that's become very popular, and that's how I show how to make your car flutter easy, you know. And that video has actually has attraction to quite a lot of cool comments from both people that hate the idea and people that love the idea. And for me, that's perfect. It's a discussion in the comments. I love it. The video doesn't actually go into detail on what everything does. It's kind of like Here's a quick step. It's like a 1 minute video. That's not the video I'm making the most money on, because say that right, because it's a 1 minute video. If you want to make money on video, it should be more than 10 minutes or whatever that. I don't know, something like that. YouTube algorithm. I don't know. It's the most viewed video though. So if you see that video, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, good. If you didn't like what I did in that video, well, good as well, because then you know you shouldn't do it yourself. You know. That's when you know that I do it for you, so you don't have to do it. But if you want that cool turbo flutter, if you think that car sounds good with turbo flutter, go right ahead. That's a whole small TiD04 on that video, with making a pretty decent flutter, and it's a big intercooler on the car, which makes the flutter even better. That actually has something to do with. Maybe we'll talk about that in the future. But I want to welcome you to my projects, both cars and construction. There's gonna be a lot of stuff, that's for sure. So, a lot of stuff going to happen. I'm moving in next month to an apartment that is actually bigger than the one I have now. It's actually, I'm moving from a house to an apartment, but it's going to be almost double the size, which means me and my girlfriend will have more place or more space for ourselves to think out and do stuff. It's also actually quite a bit cheaper. It's like 20% cheaper than where we live now. Doesn't make sense, but that's how it is. It's like 5 minutes away from where I already live, so that's cool. And that also puts out more money to save and also use on these projects, because I also want to. My kind of dream here is to buy cars, fix them up, and flip them, you know? Because I can use that money for even bigger projects, you know? Even bigger projects. Maybe I can buy my own garage at that one time, so I don't have to rent this one anymore. And then you can say, why are you using time and money to build a garage inside your garage when you're renting the place? Because it's experience. I learn from it, and then if I learn, oh, that wasn't a good idea, I learn from that, and then when I'm gonna build my own, I don't do that mistake again. That's the best thing I can do here is actually just to trial and error. That's the whole gist of it, no? So, I have a couple of cars that need some love here, so I'm gonna end this video here. I'm gonna maybe throw on some music, because I'm a collector of everything. My girlfriend really shakes her head every time I come home with new stuff, because there you go. Because she's like, why do you need that stuff? I'm an IT guy and I love collecting computers and old computers and stuff like that. And she's like, why do you need like 5 desktop computers? Why do you need 13 keyboards? Why do you need that and that, you know? And I can't really explain it. That's how I am. That's how I am. I like collecting stuff. And if I let you see the floor of my garage, you can see that I have a lot of stuff. But I'm kind of keeping that in the shadows here. I'm going to show something I have on the floor of my garage here, though. This box right here, with a lot of stuff in it. Because I like, as I said, collecting things. And this box is so heavy, I can't lift it more than 2 meters at a time. Because it's so much stuff in it. In here, I believe this is a Dremel. I got this from my grandfather. Was on vacation. It's a battery. I don't know. It's probably a very cheap Dremel. Probably works. Probably just a job, you know. And I thank for that. You know, what the heck is this? All this thing. So I need this. If you're an IT guy, oh, this is a network switch. Oh, this is some cables, you know. And under here, that's an amp. And that's a very big amp. And also under there, which you can't really see, it's another one. They're rack-mountable amps. And why I have collected those, because I'm also kind of a audio freak. Look at this sub here. It's a $1,000 plus sub in the garage. Why do you need that? And I have this rack right here with a lot of stuff I don't use, so it's just to fill up the blank spots. There is a rack server here. I want to use this. It has serial ports on the rear, so I can use this for Tech 2 security access. So that's why this is in here. This is the screen for it. It's actually a pretty nice one. It's a, you know, flips out. Here's your screen, you know, stuff like that. Pretty okay. Here's the amp I have right now. This is a 300 watts model of that 500 watt. You saw that right back there. This is a filler plate, just to give it air from underneath to breathe. This is some kind of a microphone thingy, and this is some other thingy, you know? And there's some other thingies that could be down here. But mainly this is my audio gear. That's my laptop, driving the audio gear. We have this focal in-wall mount speaker inside a server cabinet, because why not? And there's this big 12-inch massive magnet, like I can stuff 4 fingers in this hole here and she won't even complain, you know? And that's 3,000 watts running off a 300 watt amp. Actually 150 watts RMS on each channel. So I'm going to rig up that thing over there rather, and see how hard I can thump this thing. See if I can shake things loose here. Maybe the birds would fly away from inside here, you know? But this video has gone about for way too long. I just want to tell you about plans. There's a lot of plans. There's a lot of cars. I'm looking at it thinking, oh my god, how am I going to get time for all this? Well, I ain't going to get any time for it when I'm talking to this camera, that's for sure. But I will promise to make more videos, and hopefully more often. That's probably, well, that's the thing. I want to make them more often. I want to make them more often. So you get more videos from me, because there are some of you actually enjoys watching my videos, and I really appreciate you. So I don't know what you can call this project, a video here, but it is a lot of projects going on, that's for sure. Cars and construction, and I have a lamp here that I can turn on so I get more light, and that turns me yellow, so that's nice. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you have any questions, comments, anything, post them like right below there, you know, where all the comments are usually posted. And I guess see you in the next video. If you're interested in anything I have here that I've talked about, if you're local, if you're interested, if you want this 900 here, please send me a message and we'll fix it up for you and you'll get it on the road. It's such a good car. It's such a shame seeing it's just standing here. And thankfully it's indoors, you know, so it's out of the weather. But yeah, anything at all, post in the comments. And if you have any other inspirations for me, or recommendations to what to use to build or whatever, something like that, something that's cheap, you know, something that is easily obtainable, preferably cheap or even free, that will be much appreciated. So thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully see you guys soon, I guess.